Imagine you're a 7-year-old child playing with your paper airplane in your backyard, but suddenly you see a clown, not an ordinary one, but a terrifying one. He promises you fun and games and takes you away only for you to find out. Welcome to Mindful Progress, a journey. I wish you all a very great evening, as this is the last week of May and currently 9 p.m. Eastern Time Zone. In this episode, we delve into the dark and twisted world of Laughing Jack, a sinister entity with a penchant for terrorizing children. Join us as we uncover the origins and chilling tale of this infamous creepypasta character. Now, the beginning of the whole story. It started a long time ago. So, the character Laughing Jack. This character has been around from 2013. The releasing date of this podcast is 2024, so it has been over 11 years. Now, our story begins with a boy named James, who lived in a quiet suburban neighborhood with neglectful and abusive parents. His parents were really not that great. They neglected him from the very start. Remember, James is still a child, a very young child, and he is already being neglected and being abused against. Now, lonely and isolated, James created an imaginary friend named Laughing Jack to keep him company. Now, you see, this is the part where we first see the character Laughing Jack. Not see, it's like we get his introduction here at least. Now, at first, Laughing Jack appeared as a friendly clown, bringing joy and laughter to James' life. However, as time passed, Laughing Jack's true nature began to reveal itself. He twisted James' innocent imagination, turning him into a vessel for his malevolent desires. There are some things of note here. Laughing Jack, as you can see, it's an imaginary friend that Jack created. It was completely from his mind. Now, but not everything has a good effect. His parents neglected and abused him, so this led him to create an imaginary friend for himself, which then slowly turned his mind, and it actually destroyed him, not destroy, like ruin his imagination from inside out. Okay, now what happens next is as Laughing Jack's hold over James tightened, the once happy boy descended into darkness. Encouraged by his imaginary friend, James began to embrace a life of chaos and destruction, wreaking havoc on those around him. Meanwhile, whispers of disappearance echoed through the neighborhood, signaling the beginning of Laughing Jack's reign of terror. Children vanished without a trace, their fates unknown to all but Laughing Jack himself. With each soul claimed, his power grew, and feeding on the fear and despair he soared. Now, Laughing Jack, firstly, he corrupted James' mind, as I've already told you guys. And after that, he started taking children, vanishing children, without a trace. Now, all of this was done by Laughing Jack, and apparently his powers were growing the more he was feeding on these children's, such that, okay. As fear gripped the community, suspicion fell on James and his enigmatic companion, but despite their best efforts, no evidence could be found to link them to the disappearances. Under the cover of darkness, Laughing Jack prowled the streets, his painted smile masking the true horror that lurked within. With each passing night, more children fell victim to his insatiable hunger, their innocence snuffed out by his malevolent presence as the body count rose. The legend of Laughing Jack grew, striking fear into the hearts of all who heard his name. Now, there's more to this. You see, I'll tell you the origin of the story now. That was just the story of what Laughing Jack was capable of, but in this podcast we don't just share the story. We dissect it and we tell you the information on what you may need to know and what you don't need to know as well. Now, Laughing Jack is a character from creepypasta lore. Okay, it was originating from a story written by user Snuff Bomb in quotation on the website Creepypasta Wiki. I'll link the website in the podcast as well. I'm pretty sure there's a way to do it. Now, the story titled Laughing Jack, as I told you guys, was first posted in 2013, which is 11 years ago, and quickly gained popularity within the creepypasta community. Since then, Laughing Jack has become one of the most well-known and iconic figures in the genre. Hence now we don't know if James is actually a real boy, because the story was written by Snuff Bomb. Okay, so we don't know the legibility of this information, but whatever. Now, his appearance with his grotesque clown-like feature and unnaturally white grin adds to his terrifying aura. You know how clowns are meant to be these fun type creatures. They're played by people in the circus to make you laugh. But you know what's more terrifying? A horror film or a comedy film which includes a horror scene. When you're watching a horror film, you already know there's going to be this and that and that and this. But when you're watching a comedy film, that's completely out of pocket, right? So that is what makes it even more terrifying. Now, Laughing Jack's legend has expanded beyond the original story, with various spin-offs, fan art, and adaptations appearing across the internet. He has become a staple of creepypasta culture, embodying the fear of the unknown and the sinister potential lurking in the shadows. It's worth noting that Laughing Jack's story, like many creepypasta, is a work of fiction created for entertainment purpose only. Now, that was the origin, and while his story may be confined to the realm of fiction, the terror he inspires is all too real for those who encounter him in the dark recesses of the internet. Now, Laughing Jack also has a sequel to itself. It is Eyeless Jack. I'm not sure if it's a sequel or not, but they both share the same name, and I got the lore of both of those things, so why not share it in the same episode since we have a lot more time left. Okay, now just a second, I'll be right back. Eyeless Jack. Okay, now the next character we'll be talking about is Eyeless Jack. It is another iconic figure within creepypasta lore. Now be aware, the names may be similar, Laughing Jack and Eyeless Jack. Okay, but these are two different characters with distinct stories. They have different stories and different backgrounds. They are not similar, but I will get to that after the story of Eyeless Jack. Eyeless Jack is another iconic figure within creepypasta lore, known for his eerie appearance and chilling tales. Eyeless Jack is often depicted as a mysterious and malevolent entity with no eyes, hence the name Eyeless Jack. His origins are shrouded in mystery, with various interpretations and versions of his backstory existing within the creepypasta community. However, one common thread in many iterations of his story is that he is a supernatural being or creature that preys on humans, particularly those who are vulnerable or isolated. Eyeless Jack is said to target individuals while they sleep, entering their homes undetected and inflicting harm upon them. His methods of attack vary, but he is often depicted as surgically removing the eyes or organs of his victims, leaving behind grisly and unsettling scenes. Some versions of the story suggest that Eyeless Jack may consume these body parts as part of a sinister ritual or as substance for his otherworldly existence. Eyeless Jack's victims are typically portrayed as unsuspecting individuals who are drawn into his web of terror. They may experience strange and disturbing phenomena leading up to their encounters with him, such as unexplained noises or sightings of a figure lurking in the shadows. Once targeted by Eyeless Jack, victims often find themselves unable to escape his clutches, falling victim to his insatiable hunger or desire for violence. Now, the whole legend of Eyeless Jack has spread far and wide within the creepypasta community, inspiring countless stories, fanarts, and adaptations. His eerie appearance and unsettling modus operandi have cemented him as one of the most feared and iconic figures in the genre. Tales of his encounters continue to haunt nightmares of those who dare to delve into the darkest corners of the internet. In essence, Eyeless Jack embodies the fear of the unknown and the horror that lurk in the shadows. His story serves as a cautionary tale warning against the dangers of the unseen and the consequences of delving too deeply into the darkness that lies beyond. While his origins may be murky and his motives unclear, one thing is certain: Eyeless Jack is a figure of terror and dread that continues to captivate and terrify audiences to this day. That was the whole story of Eyeless Jack. Now, what we got to know from this is he takes out eyes of his victims and arms, sometimes surgically, and he devours them. Those body parts, that is. While Eyeless Jack and Laughing Jack are both popular characters within the creepypasta genre, they are typically depicted as separate entities with their own distinct stories and characteristics. Now, here's something interesting. In some fan interpretations or adaptations, right, Eyeless Jack and Laughing Jack are portrayed as existing within the same fictional universe, or as being aware of each other's existence. Now, however, these connections are usually based on fan speculation rather than established canon with the origin stories, but you get the point. This is a really interesting story. Now, ultimately, whether Eyeless Jack and Laughing Jack are connected is open to interpretation and may vary depending on individual fan theories or creative interpretations within the creepypasta community. Now, the whole thing about these two. Eyeless Jack was published in 2012, by the way. So this came before Laughing Jack. That is what we know of. Let's go to the villain so we can see what it says about it. I was staring face to face with a creature with a black hoodie and a dark blue mask with no nose or mouth, staring down at me. The thing that scared me the most was it had no eyes, just empty black sockets. The creature also had some black substance dripping from its sockets. The original description of Eyeless Jack. Okay, we got the original description of Eyeless Jack. It's from villainsfandom.com/wiki/Eyeless Jack. If you guys want to check it out, you're free to do so, but please be aware this article is marked as mature, so do it at your own risk. Okay, I've already told you guys the story, so I'm just gonna go over what the wiki says about him. Jack Nairus, better known as Eyeless Jack, is the titular main antagonist of the creepypasta of the same name. He is an enigmatic stalker and killer who breaks into the protagonist's home to torment and steal from them. Eyeless Jack is usually described as a person in black hoodie and an expressionless blue mask with no nose or mouth. Black liquid, a mixture of blood and tar, is dripping from the eye sockets behind the mask. His fingers are sharpened into claws and his mouth filled with sharp teeth. Jack is 19 years old and 5 foot 11 inches. He also has grey skin, formerly Caucasian, I'm not sure what that meant, and brown hair. Eyeless Jack is infamous for being able to successfully remove a victim's kidney while they are asleep and sew up the wound flawlessly, so it is apparent that he has anatomical and perhaps even medical knowledge. He also possesses tremendous stealth and is almost never caught in the act, despite having no eyes. Jack can still see. He is incredibly strong. The full extent of Jack's power is still an unknown. Okay, so we go into the origin of Eyeless Jack now. On June 7, 2010, the photograph of Eyeless Jack was posted on 4chan by a user named Arnon. The title of the post was Nightmare Fuel, which contained images of disturbing creatures from video games. One of the images featuring the original photo of Jack. The story itself was written on February 25, 2012, as I said before, by a Wikia user Azulf5000, also known on YouTube as Papa Pinchy or Papa Pinch with a silent E at the end. On November 21, 2014, the story was officially terminated from creepypasta. because the writer requested it to be taken down for thinking that since Jeff the killer was removed, Eyeless Jack should be removed by him before the admins decided what happened to it. Jeff the killer. I will cover him, Jeff the killer, in the next episode, so watch out for that. I'll keep that in the back of my mind to go home and create an episode for Jeff the killer. On 2022, the Brazilian Pedro Cultus on YouTube revealed in this video, now it's a link, that the person responsible for the image was @Pirate Cashho. @Pirate Cashho, a horror arts illustrator. In the video, he commented that the illustrator didn't even know that his art was taken to be used in creepypasta. I think that was a lot of information. Let's go over all of that again. Now, it was at 2010 that the Eyeless Jack photo was posted on 4chan by a user named Arnon. But then it was posted as a story on Creepypasta, the website, on February 25, 2012 by a Wikia user known as Alza5000, but he also had a YouTube known as Papa Pinchy or Papa Pinch, the silent E, however you like to call it. But then the story was terminated from Creepypasta. It was removed by the author because Jeff the killer was removed too. Now we don't know why Jeff the killer was removed in the first place, so we will have to see that. We will go over that in the next podcast episode, and we will get to know what happened to Jeff the killer, why it was removed, and how it is connected to Eyeless Jack. Actually, the author. These are the origins. This is not the story. I've already shared the story. If you want to listen to the story again, you may you may go back into the podcast, this episode, and listen to it again. And what turns out that the art was actually stolen for Eyeless Jack. It wasn't his who uploaded it on Creepypasta or on 4chan. So I think that was a lot of information. Now let me know about both the stories, Laughing Jack and Eyeless Jack. Now, as we reach the conclusion of our tales, the legacy of Laughing Jack and Eyeless Jack live on. A chilling reminder of the darkness that lurks within us all. Through these stories, though these stories may be confined in the realm of fiction, right? The fear these guys inspires in us are too real. I would like to thank you all for tuning on into Mindful Progress, a journey's second episode, and thank you for giving your time. This means a lot as we continue to explore the unknown mysteries. I shall see you on the next one then. You guys will see me again on the last week of next month, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Or you can listen to the previous episode, though I do not recommend it because the previous episode wasn't that much special. So till next time, I hope to see you again. Goodbye, have a good night, and thanks for listening in.